Hey guys, I'm back and we are playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Today we're going to be doing a League loot stream. We're going to be checking out a viewership reward. Unfortunately, this reward has sort of come and gone. The viewership has ended for it, so no longer available as far as earnability. But had you watched the Major 2 Finals Day live stream, on YouTube, and you had your accounts linked up, Activision and YouTube accounts linked up, could have earned yourself a pretty nice looking blueprint. Like I said though, Finals Day ended a little while ago, so viewership has officially completed for Major 2 and no longer available. That being said, though, in the last couple of years, they have done second chances, although very rare and limited second chances for some of the rewards. So you might get a chance to earn this blueprint in a future live stream. What they did in Vanguard was during the championship finals day, the very big championship, the finals live stream, they did a rerun, and that rerun had some of the viewership rewards. They didn't do that last year, though, unfortunately. What they did last year was during the Warzone championship live streams, several days of live streaming for the Warzone championship. They added some of the old CDL viewership rewards for that year as second chances to earn the rewards. So there might be a second chance to earn this blueprint, although, like I said earlier, it is limited, and CDL is just sort of stingy about giving second chances with their rewards. You sort of need to watch while the event is live to earn the rewards, and then it's done and dusted. You don't get a second chance, usually. Like I said, there are some of the rewards that might become available, maybe. And you sort of just need to be like aware when it does happen, because they don't really announce it majorly in any big fashion. What am I talking about though? MCW Assault Rifle Smoke Blueprint. It's the Major 2 Finals Day, 2 hours worth of viewership reward for them viewers. Let's go ahead and play the preview animation and get a closer look. Yeah, very cool looking blueprint. Small little elements like that little skull there on the side. There's a little ghost peeking out. Also, it looks like the smoke on the base of the weapon creates the shape of maybe like a side profile skull. That's what it looks like to me. So that might be something. I think that it's got to be the skull, right? Like a sideways skull, or at least a face, like a smoke face or something like that, right? See the eye and the thing, side profile. Looks cool. I like it. Visually very cool looking blueprint. As I mentioned, it was a viewership reward for the CDL Major 2. Call of Duty League Major 2 Finals Day. You had to watch 2 hours with the YouTube live stream. The channels to watch were like the Call of Duty League channel or the main Call of Duty channel. Both had live streams or were streaming the event. And as long as you had your accounts linked up, you could have earned this reward. They had rewards throughout the whole major. Like Major 2 had XP tokens and stuff during the preliminary rounds, and then during the actual Major 2 event, there were calling cards and all sorts of other stuff to be earned during the early portion of the major event. And then, like I said, the finals day had the big reward, the blueprint, along with some other smaller stuff, like I said, calling card and XP tokens for various different times required, watch times required. A very cool looking blueprint. Now this is sort of a third take, honestly. I played a little bit with this blueprint. It's not a good build. It's not a very particularly good build for the MCW. And unfortunately not the most editable build, because once you start changing around attachments to fit the weapon a little better, you start losing the visuals of the design. So yeah, unfortunate, but still a very cool looking blueprint. Blueprint comes with 3 attachments. Let's go ahead and check out the attachments. You get the Kimura Silent Shot Integral Suppressor, which is a built-in suppressor barrel, undetectable by radar, sprint to fire speed, aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, at the cost of bullet velocity and range, and firing aim stability. The MCW Ironbark Tactical Stock gives you tack stand spread, hip fire spread, aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed at the cost of recoil control, gun kick control, firing aim stability, and aiming idle sway. And finally, the last of the 3 attachments is the RB Palm Shelf Grip, which is aiming idle sway, flinch resistance at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, and movement speed. Just honestly, 3 attachments that I don't believe are particularly great for this weapon, nor have they been used in any build that I've looked up for the gun, at least recently. So unless some of these attachments get a buff or something, I don't think they're particularly meta attachments for the MCW, at least currently. Unfortunately, if you decide to change the barrel and stuff like that, you're going to start losing the visuals of the blueprint, which is really unfortunate because you're probably going to want to make adjustments to this build if you want to make it more viable. Yeah, they did have some unique empty weapon attachments in that game. But it wasn't for all weapons, was it? It was mainly just for a few that they did like special animations for the empty weapon thing. But yeah, that was a nice little touch. As you can see, even optics, like when you add it, it sort of doesn't go like aesthetically with the blueprint. So even when you're adding these attachments, you know, maybe if they're small, it's not a big deal. But like the minute they get a little bit bulkier as far as optics and other stuff, it sort of is an eyesore in comparison to the rest of the blueprint. Stocks, again, unfortunately, change the stock. Visuals aren't great. This was the big surprise for me. If you change the grip, it is actually a chunky portion of the weapon that gets adjusted. If you remove the grip, it really doesn't look good with the blueprint. So yeah, again, I can't remember if this was a meta attachment in Season 1, the stock, but it's certainly not anymore, I don't believe. Because I do believe the stock, whichever one they were using in rank mode, I don't know which one it was, did get nerfed and they started removing it. And then these 2 attachments, both the barrel and the like rear grip, are pretty bad, man. They're pretty bad. So you probably want to change it around, but man, it really does mess up the visuals of the blueprint. You do have 2 open slots, so maybe if you adjust attachments a little bit, like with the added attachment, like options, maybe a good underbarrel, maybe a good ammunition type, could do something with it, possibly. Make it a little bit more viable. I was a little surprised because the MCW is a very good weapon, so I was like, you know, it's probably a little hard to make it bad. You do need to remove the barrel if you want access to the muzzles because of the integrated suppressor. So yeah, change the barrel to add muzzle attachment if that's something you want on it. But this actually sort of feels bad, dude, the build. Like, it's not great. It's usable, but not great. So yeah, it's the blueprint, the way you get it, and if you decide to change around attachments, there are the stats for the blueprint. Movement speeds at 4.9 M-S. What's up, Slayo? This is the camo coverage for the blueprint. It actually has kind of interesting camo coverage. You can sort of see the smoke kind of like mixed in with the camo on the body. Like you can see like the smoke kind of interacting with the camo to make an interesting design. The obvious issue with this camo coverage is the stock. Seems like they forgot about the stock as far as camo coverage goes, and no matter what you put on it, it does not change the stock as far as camo goes. Again, even in mastery camos, you can see the like smoke effect sort of like visible through the camo. And then these ones are particularly interesting. Like the smoke effect sort of has secondary coverage while the background has primary coverage. And that applies to this one also. So yeah, very cool design. Just a little unfortunate that they forgot to code in the stock as far as camo coverage goes. And like I said, even the base camos, you can sort of see some of them do interact with the smoke in interesting ways, right? Borealis is probably my favorite out of the lot, camo coverage wise. It's just really unfortunate that they forgot the stock. Hopefully they go back and fix it. I don't know if they will or won't, and add camo coverage to the stock, because that would go a long way, but I don't know if they'll do that. Yeah, very cool camo coverage. All right, let's go ahead and jump in and play some games, and hopefully this time it goes a little better than the last couple of attempts. I've not been struggling with the gun, but it is like not particularly good. What I realized after playing the first couple of attempts is a lot of these attachments on, well, the few attachments on this blueprint sort of are counter to what like the MCW should be excelling in, right? Like the MCW is sort of a middle of the road, good at most things, but not excellent at anything in particular. But, you know, it's very accurate. It's got, you know, you can sort of like beam with it and all that. And all these attachments are like kind of negating that, like as removing range, adding more recoil, giving you things that you don't really care for with the use of like the AR. And the stuff that it gives you, it doesn't particularly like give you anything that makes it that much better in those areas. Yeah, we'll find another game. This is too far gone. So yeah, just generally, I think this build is actually kind of like subpar, unoptimal. Like I've been doing okay with it. It's just been a bit of a annoyance, and honestly, more than anything, teammates have been bugging me in all the games I've been playing. I don't know, man. Of late, they've really been dumping me on some teams where, like, teammates just don't do it. At least it feels like they're not doing anything. Like, I don't know, man. I guess because I'm not paying attention. Like, they might actually be doing something. But genuinely feels like they're just getting slaughtered and handing over, like, streaks to team, like the enemy team, like, a little too much. And this has been going on for the last few days, too, man. Like, the team balancing has just been, like, really out of whack. Like, I wouldn't say the enemy team is, like, particularly amazing or anything. It's just like, dude, once you give them all the streaks and everything, it's like, dude, I'm going to be able to do much against them. I do like the blue and all that. Looks so good.
Eliminate the enemy. Leave none alive. Friendly UAV on station.
Thank you, teammate.
Enemy UAV active. Friendly UAV online. Mission time is half over. Maintain the lead.
Enemy flag.
Was that teammate?
Moving here. Moving here. This sector's been looted.
I don't think this gun's particularly good for where I'm staying. But I'm trying to get this VTOL, which I don't think I'll get.
Disregard that.
Friendly mosquito deployed. UAV active. Hostile UAV in the area. The enemy is in disarray. Press it. Copy. Phoenix 2-3 is on station. Ready for task. Friendly cruise missile approaching target. The mission is complete. Good work.
This team was better. Like, they were good. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what attachments will benefit this build. I have an idea, but yeah, we'll see. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Team deathmatch. Engage and destroy the enemy. All of them.
I didn't even see him.
Hostile UAV in the area. Enemy UAV active. Your position. Hostile UAV in the area. Hostile cluster mine detected. Enemy UAV active. Hostile care package. Hostile UAV in the area. Hostiles deployed a remote turret. Enemy is gaining ground. Push them back.
Damn it. How did I lose that, man?
Moving here.
Yeah, this is what I mean, teammates. Brilliant, dude. Dude, how are they all this bad, dude? Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Play safe, man. If you're dying a lot, just play safe. I wish I had Borealis unlocked on this, but I don't. So we'll go with this. Still looks good. Just wish the stock had coverage.
Kill confirmed. Eliminate all hostiles in the area. Grab their tag. We have taken the lead. We've lost the lead.
I've got your back.
Friendly mosquito deployed. We've secured the lead. UAV standing by.
Copy that. UAV is on station.
Nice run.
UAV is being
UAV online. Friendly care package on the way.
Teammate, don't.
Our chopper gunner is inbound hot. Tag secure. Kill confirmed.
How did that not kill him?
Deployed. Confirm that one.
Counter UAV is offline.
Hostile cluster mine active. Hostile remote turret is active. Mission time is half over. Maintain the lead. Friendly mosquito active. Kill confirmed. Friendly mosquito deployed. Friendly care package in the AO. UAV standing by. Standing by.
Copy. Counter UAV is down. Copy that. UAV signal lost. Is down.
Hostile care package deployed. Confirm that one. Friendly target inbound. They're overwhelmed. Keep it this way. Hostile counter UAV overhead. Friendly mosquito active. Our counter
Where did this guy come from, man?
tag secure. Friendly mosquito deployed. Deploy. Counter UAV ready.
Copy. Counter UAV on station. Rock up. UAV orbiting the AO. Recon is online.
The mission is complete. Good work.
So yeah, that's the blueprint the way you get it, and with mastery camo. For the first build, we're gonna do an in addition to build. So we're gonna try to keep these attachments because it is vital to the visual of the blueprint. But I wanna add some attachments that might make this a little bit better. So I need an optic because I really didn't really like the iron sights on this. It just wasn't my thing. Like sometimes I was missing shots. And I'm tempted to go with this. Like the reason I'm like reluctant, I do think having the like velocity and range is going to be useful. But at the same time, like everything else is taking a hit in recoil. So I don't know if I should be going with high grain. And this was my dilemma with this blueprint. I don't know if I should go with just forego the optic, throw on an underbarrel that'll help with the recoil control and high velocity to help with the lack of range and velocity, or go with an optic, keep it clean, and then one or the other, right? Recoil or velocity. For this one, theoretically, I'm going to go with higher velocity and range, and I'll try to control it with a clean optic, visuals. So let's go with that. So yeah, a little in addition to build, like I said, I haven't done, I don't know, man. I'm really torn by this blueprint. I really don't like the iron sights personally, so I do want the cleaner optic. But I don't know. I think having the velocity and range will benefit it. While the gun's already kind of a low recoil gun, so even if we take massive hits to it, which all the attachments sort of are taking a hit to recoil, might work out. I sort of wish I had a clean optic to see how the like gunfights are playing with the thing. It's just playing with the iron sights. I wasn't sure whether it was the attachments that were like causing, or if it was just not a clean line of sight that I would have had with an optic. I'm proper dilemma with this one. I suspect I've gone the wrong route. I think having something to like control it, make it more laser-like, would be the better choice. Lean into the MCW as opposed to leading into the like blueprint design. What's up, Gunner? Good morning to you. It's the MCW. It was the viewership reward for the major. Oh, we're not playing this. Holy crap. I didn't realize we were getting into this one. Oh, it's a game in progress anyway. Reason to quit out of it. It's the MCW Smoke blueprint. It was a viewership reward for Major 2's final day. Yeah, like this, just a few hours ago it ended. Major 2's finals stream, final day stream. If you watched a couple of hours on the YouTube channel, you would have earned it. Unfortunately, it's no longer available. The major ended. But maybe second chance. It's a really cool looking blueprint. Build-wise, though, it's kind of ass. But yeah, visually, it's amazing. Like, you see that smoke skull, the smoke face coming. Then you got a little skull emoji thing there. It looks good, man. It's a really nice looking blueprint. Yeah. Oh, it's not searching. I thought it was searching. Yeah, if it comes back as a second chance, I'll give you a heads up or something if you're interested. But usually they don't do second chances with these CDL drops. But maybe. I don't know. Build-wise, though, it's really bad. And the minute you start changing around attachments, it falls apart visually. Like, the attachments really, like, are integral to the thing, and the build is not great, so... Unfortunate, but... Why is it searching at such high pings, man? How you been, Gunno? How you doing? Holy fuck.
Kill confirmed.
That game was so done. I don't know why it didn't fucking tell me it was a match in progress. The way it loaded me and it felt like it was a like fresh match. Ah, nice. Chillin'. I feel like I've played with this 4 kilo team squad or whatever. I'm pretty sure I have. Relax, Nani. I'll give.
Team deathmatch. The mission is simple. Kill them all.
What's your buck?
We've secured the lead. Copy. Counter UAV running. Copy. UAV orbiting the AO. Recon is online. Counter UAV destroyed. We've lost the lead. UAV is being refueled. RTB at this time. Moving.
Hey, come on, man. Teammates push these.
The mission is half complete. Friendly VTOL inbound.
Teammate, you so.
Friendly UAV on station.
How did that not kill him? How did that not kill him? All my shots, man. Something went wrong there, dude.
UAV is on station.
I was clean with my shots. As clean as it can be.
UAV is exiting the AO.
Moving here.
Ah.
Friendly UAV online.
Moving here.
Teammate, please. Thank you. Hey.
One minute remaining. Hostile UAV in the area.
Yeah, the adjusted build was decent. This did make it a little bit more viable while maintaining visuals. I'll give you, Kiki, just 1 minute. I gave you 1 minute. All right, for this next build, we're going to try out my build when I went for the camo grinder on the MCW. I used the slate reflector, the A90 Venom stock, 40 round mags, F-Tac hand stop, and the Shadow Strike suppressor. I don't think it's a meta build or anything like that, but worked for me, I guess. I mean, it does clean it up, but I mean, let's just not put any camo on that. Or let's actually put a camo on it. Let's put this. See how that looks like in game. Yeah. Did I put it on the correct weapon? Yes, I did. Alright, I'll just give my cats their food while this is searching. Yes, I'm doing those cutlettes. You can see the little ghost head. It looks alright. I think if it was a full blueprint, it would look good.
All operatives, you're clear to engage. We've taken the lead. Cancel that.
Be advised, UAV is exiting the AO.
What the fuck? What in?
One is on station.
You're halfway to mission complete. Finish it. Friendly UAV online. Hostile UAV in the area.
Ah, dude, I got stunned and fucking shocked. Are you kidding?
Hostile cluster mine detected.
Teammate.
Enemy UAV active. Face your back.
Oh, teammate, shoot back, man.
Mission time is half over.
How do we get these teammates sometimes? And I wonder. It's a good build. Movement's good, accuracy and all that. Can't hate on my build, man. I camped it a little bit, but I mean, what to do? The beamer, you don't need to be moving around. You just need to be shooting straight, which the gun allows you to do very easily. Pish pish. So yeah, that was my build on the blueprint. I actually do like how it looks on this forge thing. It's just unfortunate, like I said, you know, like once you change attachments, this like design disappears. Pish pish. Alright, for this last build, you know, got to try out a pro build. This is basically the MCW ranked mode build. I'm going to give Octane, he's a content creator ex-pro. Used to play for LA Thieves last year. He just recently retired. And now he's gone into content creation for the 100 Thieves, like LA Thieves organization. But yeah, he's a solid player. Like, he's always been a top-notch player. In fact, a lot of people were a little surprised when he retired because he was actually still very much on the top of his game. But yeah, this is basically his build but I'm pretty sure it's basically like the pro builds are very much the same. Like, everyone uses basically the same build. There might be a very small adjustment here or there, but for the most part, everyone's using the same like build. But like I said, I got it from his YouTube channel, so I'll link his channel in the description, give him credit. MK3 reflector. Now, I don't like this optic, but this really is the meta optic for the pros. I would actually still suggest if you prefer something else, a different optic, just go with what you prefer. But as far as the pros go, this is the meta optic. The RB Claw PSL grip, the X10 Phantom 5 handstop, L4R flash hider, and then the 16.5-inch MCW Cyclone long barrel. Now, this is actually the recent build for the MCW. There was a slightly different build at the launch of the game that the pros were using, and for like the major one. But as of season 2, like, the MCW did catch a nerf, and the major change was like they were using some stock. I don't remember which stock they were using, but with the nerf, the stock became kind of like not particularly a good attachment. So this is the current MCW build, at least as of now, for ranked mode and the pro scene. Again, this is the pro preferred optic, but I would suggest you just pick the optic that you're most comfortable with. Like, I am very tempted to just switch up to the slate reflector because that is my preferred optic. But for this game, we'll just use it, the reflector. In fact, season 1, the pros were kind of like mixed on slate reflector versus the MK3 reflector. As of Major 2, everyone's sort of like fallen into line with like the MK3 is the like better of the optics as far as they go. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump in and try out this build. Now, as far as I know, like with this MCW build, it is actually kind of optimal. Like, they have, like, usually in the past, what would happen is because the pro builds, there's so many restrictions in the pro scene, like, and in ranked mode, like a lot of the attachments are restricted. So the builds tend to be like actually subpar or unoptimal builds because there's they don't have access to a lot of the really OP attachments, right? But from what I've heard, this is actually still a very good build. I haven't actually tried it out. I haven't played ranked mode in this game. Just not been interested in that. Dude, I say let's play Vista, but yeah, let's do Vista actually. They're actually adding Vista and Departure to the rank mode playlist to test it out to see if it's going to be viable for the pro scene. So I think with the launch of season 3, or soon, very soon in fact, they're planning on adding these two maps to the ranked pool to start testing it out to see if it's going to be like a viable map for the pro scene. So maybe you might actually see this in the ranked mode soon, and it might actually replace one of the old maps on the pro circuit. Who knows? We'll see once they start playing on it. Now, as far as perks go and like attachments and all that, I mean the perk stuff, I don't know what the ranked mode thing is. This is just the build is the rank mode build for the MCW.
Team deathmatch.
Usually with the viewership drops, like they're not actually like meant for like the ranked mode. It's more so for Oh god, I'm in a bad spot here.
Copy. UAV. The enemy's taking the lead. We have taken the lead.
Like, usually the viewership drops are just stuff for people to use and have fun with. Not meant to be like the meta anything.
The enemy's taking the lead.
It is a good build. I thought someone in the like teammate would pick that guy off, man. He was pinging on the mini map so hard, man.
Friendly UAV online. Friendly UAV on station.
I shouldn't have pushed that. They were all up in that area.
Be advised, UAV is exiting the AO.
It is a really good build, actually, man.
Got your cover.
Oh, he got.
Covering your six.
Enemy UAV. We've lost the lead. Standing by.
It's like a laser, man.
Copy. UAV orbiting the AO. Recon is online. Counter UAV standing by. Exiting the AO. Copy. Counter UAV running signal interference.
No, that was bad.
We've lost half the field. Fight back. Hostile UAV in the area.
On your
Clock ticking. Hostile soldier. UAV
Equip. Set. Disregard that. Mark.
The teammates are so dog shit, man. I don't know what the fuck they're doing even.
Hostiles launched the cruise missile. Friendly UAV.
Got your cover.
Friendly cluster mine deployed.
Visual on the enemy.
Friendly mortar deployed. Have taken the lead.
Covering your six.
Friendly UAV on station. Ready. Just falling apart. Break them. Moving here. Copy. Counter UAV. Precision airstrike inbound.
Oh my god, our team made a comeback. I'm shocked, but nice. Look at this guy, dude. What is he doing, man? Just leave. I'm pretty sure he just AFK killed himself, man, or something. Threw for our team, dude. Like, legitimately was throwing so hard. So yeah, that was the pro build for the MCW rank mode build. Should be viable in rank. Like all the attachments, I think, are part of the acceptable rank mode attachments. It is. I'm gonna save this build. Let's be real. It is a really good build. It is excellent. Way better than my build. Better than the blueprint build. Better than the adjusted build. Better than anything I could think of. So yeah, very fitting. Also, pretty easy to use. Let's be real. Like, it is a laser. But I mean, that's a good thing, I guess, right? And again, I'll link Octane's channel in the description so you guys can find him. I definitely recommend him, especially if you're into like the pro scene, and he like kind of breaks down games. He kind of does watch parties for the like events and all. He's a solid like content creator and was an amazing pro. So MCW Smoke Blueprint. It's the viewership reward for Major 2 finals day, 2-hour watch time, and you would have earned this blueprint, obviously on YouTube, and the CDL and Call of Duty main channels were doing the live stream. Unfortunately, if you're watching on the watch parties and all, like from like other content creators, you probably didn't earn these rewards. You do need to watch the main channels. Visually, absolutely a brilliant looking blueprint. It is just so nice. It just looks so good. Honestly, when I saw the small thumbnail for the blueprint, I was like, man, this doesn't look anything special. It's nothing great. It's just some generic blue and white kind of pattern, right? But then obviously now that you look at it closer, you can see like there's design elements to it that are subtle but awesome also at the same time. Like not so subtle that it's lost, but still very, very cool. Camo coverage is amazing. It is just absolutely amazing on it, like with the exception of the stock attachment. And I mentioned this, but I don't know if they'll fix that, the camo coverage on the stock. They've done this in the past with some of the league rewards where they just kind of forget to like put the camo coverage on one attachment section, usually the stock or something, right? And I don't think they've ever bothered going back and fixing it. I'm keeping my fingers crossed because this blueprint is so amazing. Like if you just fix the camo coverage on the stock, it would be brilliant, yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't know about that, if they will or won't. Build-wise, I think the way you get it, it is a little like, it's not great. It's just not great, let's be real. And even when I put like the adjusted attachments, it became more viable. It became a little easier to use. But then once you try out like an optimal, like the pro build, like when you try out that build with those correct attachments, and you see how like the MCW can play in, you know, like an optimal build state, then it really sends home like how bad this build really is as far as the blueprint goes. Like it really is sort of a detrimental build for the weapon. And the sad part is the minute you start changing around attachments and stuff like that, you really are going to start losing that, what makes this blueprint very special, like the visual element of it. And it really does fall apart very quickly the minute you start making adjustments to the attachments, very, very quickly, unfortunately. So yeah, build-wise, it's bad. Like realistically, it's usable. I got away with it. I did okay with it. I was doing okay with it. Even, yeah, this is my third take. Like, so I did do a couple of restarts, but the restarts, even though like games I played as warm-ups, right, in the first and second take that I'm going to crop out, those weren't bad games on my part. It was just like teammates were like teammates, right, where they were just doing what that dude did, where they're going single-digit, double-digit deaths, right? Single-digit kills, double-digit deaths, and just feeding them streaks and all. So it was getting kind of like irritating that way. And the first take, my cat knocked out the wire, so the audio kind of cut out for a second. So the main reason I wanted to do a quick restart, but for the better. I think the games in this take were like a marked improvement, even in comparison to the ones in those other ones, as far as my gameplay went, right? But yeah, the build is just not good. It's just not good. And it's unfortunate because Blueprint is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, all in all, like, I think this is like one of those, like, man, it's awesome for the collection. I love it. I love it. And I do hope, like, I'm not the type that, like, you know, like, I don't really care about exclusivity and stuff and rarity and stuff like that. So, like, I do hope they do a second chance for the rest of the people. I've always said this, and I've said this so many times, like, but no one listens, is the CDL should do the live stream, and then they should definitely do another rerun, the rerun at a normal time and day for other countries. Because usually the CDL plays at, like, midnight for me and goes on super late, so it's, like, near impossible to watch it live. And yet the viewership drops are all tied to that live event. So even if they do a rerun for like people outside, they usually don't do drops tied to it. Like I said, on the rare occasion of Vanguard year, they did a rerun of the championship finals and they added drops to it. And that was such a cool thing. I was hoping they would carry that forward throughout the years, but then they stopped doing that. It was just the one and done that time, right? So I do hope like they will do a second chance for it, whether it be a rerun stream or like maybe the Warzone stream. Like I said last year during the Warzone championship, World Championship, World Series of Warzone or whatever, a lot of the viewership drops were the same as the CDL drops. So maybe they will. The reason I've got my doubts on that one though is last year the CDL didn't have a partnership with either Twitch or YouTube. Whereas this year, YouTube has a contract with the CDL to exclusively broadcast on YouTube, right? So all the viewership drops are tied to the YouTube viewership, right? Whereas the World Series of Warzone, usually in the last couple of years, have been sponsored by Amazon and Twitch. So the World Series of Warzone, although they do, I don't know, not sure if it's simulcasted, but the drops tend to be tied to Twitch, right? So this year, I suspect there might not be as many second chances, opportunities as one would hope. Even though, I kind of, I do hope you get a chance if you missed out, because this is an absolutely beautiful blueprint for the collection. Usability, not so much, and editability, not so much, but definitely an amazing one. Also, it's strange. When I saw this blueprint, again, small thumbnail, when they were announcing the viewership drops, I was like, oh, it's just a basic camo and all. And even when I just sort of glanced at it, when I checked to make sure I had it in my inventory after watching the watch time, the first thought that comes into my head, and it's still there in the back of my head, is like, man, why not just a universal camo? Why not just a universal camo? Because I would so much prefer it if this was a universal camo, so I could put it on a build and something that I would want to use, right? That being said, though, now that I've taken the closer look at it, this design definitely is designed for this build, right? That unique design, the skull, or the smoke face, side profile, the design elements and all are there, more catered for this weapon. So I think if this was a universal camo, you might not have had some of those more interesting elements, particularly the centerpiece skull or smoke face or whatever, and some of these other side elements, right, on the stock and all. So yeah, even though in the back of my head, I just wish these were universal camos that I could put on it. Seeing the kind of design element to this thing, and it's not a basic design, there are subtle kind of elements that create a visual design for this particular weapon, right? It makes a little bit more sense. Definitely does make a lot more sense. Definitely straight off the bat, the grip, that kind of metallic kind of grip, and the thing that ties the grip to the thing, right? You wouldn't be able to do that with the camo, I suspect, right? And then also, I don't know how possible it would or wouldn't be, but that kind of the smoke side profile face thing, if that is what it is, it looks like it, right? That's what I'm seeing in it. I suspect those elements also would have been lost. It would just have been a generic kind of pattern had it been a universal camo. So I understand why this wasn't a universal camo, but I think still my preferred reward would have been a universal camo over a blueprint. And also I think the sad part about this particular blueprint is it sort of teases the rank mode players, because it's the MCW, and the MCW is the meta weapon in rank mode. Everyone who's playing ranked and super interested in the pro scene and all wants or is using the MCW if that's the AR of their choice, right? Obviously, there's the Rival 9 or whatever as a submachine gun, but if you're using an AR, you're probably interested in an MCW blueprint, right? But the sad thing is, the reason I say it's sort of a tease to that pro scene or the rank mode players is you lose so much of the what makes this blueprint special the minute you put on the meta attachments for the MCW. So it's man, yeah, it is kind of a viable weapon for the thing, but the build is absolutely not viable for rank mode. And the minute you do try to adjust it, what is going on? Cutlet! She's going... I don't know why she does these things, man. She really goes off sometimes, my cats. But yeah, the minute you start building it for rank mode, it sort of falls apart visually. But yeah, beautiful blueprint otherwise. And definitely glad I earned it for my collection, because yeah, it really is a very nice one. Surprising based on, the big surprise for me, like I said, was when I saw the small thumbnail advertising the viewership rewards. I was like, man, this is basic. I'm not the least bit interested in it. Now that I'm looking at it in the larger view and seeing those details, really is a very nice and beautiful looking design. Now, what I will do is I'm also going to link the CDL website. Now, I'm not affiliated with the CDL in any which way or anything like that. They do have partnered people that they are partnered with, content creators. I'm not one of them, but I will link their website in the description, mainly because every major they do have viewership drops. So you might have missed this one, but they have viewership drops. And the best way to find out what the drops are and when they are is to check the CDL website. There's a section in the like drop-down menu on their website that says viewership drops. And every time they update the website or the new major kicks off and all, they will update the viewership drops and show you what you can earn and when you can earn them. So it's best to follow that website to see when the upcoming rewards are coming up, right? And yeah, Major 3 is going to kick off sooner or later, within the next few weeks, I'm sure. And there will be drops tied to that, you know. So even though you might have missed on this one, keep an eye on that website if you're interested in earning some of the drops in the future. And also, like I said, if there are second chances, it'll probably be shown on that website also, right? So yeah, check that out. Now we're going to go into a little bit of spoiler territory, I guess. We're going to talk about Major 2 and some of my thoughts and summary. So gameplay is done for now. We're just going to do a little spoiler discussion about the Major. Cutlet, what are you going on about, man? So yeah, Major 2. I'm not going to lie. I have been particularly not interested in the pro scene and rank mode scene this year. So like, I just not been super into it. Mainly because of what was going on in the previous years. That being said though, this was an actually pretty good major. It was a really good major. Like, there wasn't massive surprises as far as who ended up in the finals and who were the like kind of like the final top teams in the end. It was the top 4 teams that everyone's been talking about this year ended up as the top 4 teams this major. So no big surprise as far as that goes. We've got the top 4 teams are New York Subliners, Toronto Ultra, Atlantic Phase, and Optic Texas. Those are the 4 teams. They're the best teams in the like league right now, and all 4 made it to the finals day. I'm not gonna go break down each match or anything, but I'm gonna just kind of like talk about some of my thoughts behind it. Last major, Toronto Ultra won the major, so they were the team to be feared because they won it dominantly, like last major, Major 1. But sort of this major, a lot of the teams, even the like the big dogs and all, and even the lower teams, have sort of like they have sort of been more competitive against Toronto Ultra. So not necessarily Toronto Ultra has fallen off or anything like that. It's just I think the other teams have kind of come up and have become more competitive against them, making it a more difficult fight for them, right? So yeah, Toronto Ultra, New York Subliners, I think went at it in the losers semifinals. So they went at it, and and then New York Subliners just kind of dominated them. New York Subliners have been like last year's winners. So like Modern Warfare 2's CDL winners of like the whole championship, right? So they are a top tier team. The joke was in Major 1, they got knocked out like as bottom 12, like top 12 or whatever, however you want to put it, right? They were like one of the first to get knocked out in the major, which is a real bad scene, dude. But yeah, this major, they've definitely shown a lot of improvement and like they've kind of picked themselves up from Major 1's disaster and proven to be an excellent team, like an excellent team, dude. I have actually, my personal opinion is like the New York Subliners is an incredible like team, you know? Like I think if you break them down individually, I think it sort of falls apart, but they are very good at working together. And I think a lot has to do with also like not only a lot of talent individually that works together well, but I think also like I don't know, but I do want to say like especially in this major 2, there were instances in multiple games that New York played, right? That I think almost proves how valuable a really good coaching staff is. Again, I don't know for certain, but there were a lot of New York plays that were well coordinated as a team. Like, and if the team wasn't coordinated with those plays, it wouldn't have been executed as impressively, right? Like, for example, like this was a New York phase match, I think, in the winners semifinals or something like that, just before day before yesterday or yesterday's match, not the finals day match, right? And New York had sort of set up this like play, right, where they all kind of like were in an area and they were just peeking one of the bombs, right, making sure like keeping an eye on it. And the minute the phase players came to like plant on that bomb, Hydra was all the way in the back of their spawns, right, and just beamed through the one of the walls, exactly the correct spot. Like he had no visual on it, right? It's more his teammates telling him, okay, they're on the bomb, they're on that spot, right? Where they have been clearly been practicing this like wall bang. And he just beamed them through the wall, right? It was just absolutely well coordinated and well practiced that they were able to set up this kind of instance where they can shoot through the wall and just kill the bomb planter. And it absolutely threw FaZe for like a loop at that game. In that particular like round, because like no one had seen that wall bang. And like the thing is, throughout a lot of New York's games, they had clearly put in a lot of effort in learning the maps, the wall bangs, the nade spots, just things that I feel like other teams have not been doing. And again, I don't know who to credit this thing is. But because of how well coordinated that like kind of like play was, I suspect the coaching staff and some of the staff, apart from the players, had planned these kind of like plays out. Like, okay, do this play, try this play when you're in these areas, try these wall bangs and all. It wasn't something that they had just done on the fly. It is something they clearly had been practicing and they knew these spots, right? And New York did this several times in the game, like in the games that they were playing. It was very impressive. And that's why I'm like thinking like out of all the teams, that team showcased not only like an amazing group effort, but also like of late, a lot of like people have been criticizing the coaching staffs and stuff like that and saying how like worthless coaching staff is. Whereas in this instance, I suspect, I'm not 100% certain, I suspect the coaching staff had a lot to do with showcasing these kind of like plays to the players and then allowing them to use them when applicable in the matches, right? So I do think in this particular case, the coaching staff was extremely valuable. Now, that being said, though, I'll tell you another thing. The match against Atlanta FaZe and Subliners, the one again, the day before, not the finals day one, was absolutely brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. Like, it genuinely, like I said, the coordination and plays that and stuff that New York was doing, and then just the absolute skill and ability to kind of like adjust because of the like level of the just high skill that FaZe had. Seeing that clash between them was absolutely brilliant. Obviously, FaZe had won and knocked Sublimers into the losers bracket. And then, like I said, today, I mean, on the finals day, it was New York against Toronto, right? But yeah, New York sort of just dominated Toronto, okay? And was basically in the losers finals, okay? So now the winners final, the winners finals game was FaZe against Optic. This is always going to be like, a big match because the rivalry between Optic and FaZe has been like kind of on another level as far as time and history goes, right? It's just always been like they're the big dogs as far as like esports organization goes in like COD especially. And whenever they go together, like they're up against each other, it's a big deal. So yeah, they were in the winners finals. Honestly, I want to say, man, I want to criticize Optic, and I will, I guess. And this applies to both, like all of Optic's games throughout. I do like this is again. I think harping back to like the coaching and all that. I think Optic is, and I've said this many times. It is Storano. I'll be playing that tomorrow, by the way. But yeah, it's worth it. It is. I like it. I enjoy it. Good connections and all that. It is. But yeah, I'll be playing that tomorrow. So, did you try? You should have tried it out during the free weekend. I think it might have just ended the free weekend. It is worth it though. I think if you can get a good deal on it. I think it's winding down though. Anyway, I'll talk about that later. The live service might be winding down, so I wouldn't spend too much money on purchasing it. But if you get a good deal, it's a good game, and it plays well in India. I think Optic, like they are very an instinctual team, and that's just been the case for like a long time. But I think having really good guidance, where you can kind of make plays on some of the like interesting maneuvers, like New York showcased, would help Optic go a step further. I think just relying too heavily on instinctual, like on the fly action, is very important for Optic because they're very good and they play better that way, I think. But I think sometimes maybe like if you can practice some of these kind of like plays, like New York clearly had practiced some of the plays, right? Maybe sometimes when those like instinctual moments happen that potentially can make an outplay, they should have already like practiced as a team to coordinate around those instinctual moments that open up themselves in a match, right? And I think that would help Optic a lot, you know, it would. Anyway, that being said, though, FaZe beats Optic, sends them to the losers finals. So it's Optic versus New York. And I'm going to say this. Like, I was actually, like, after watching Sublima's FaZe, and then watching Optic FaZe, my preferred grand finals would have been Sublima's FaZe. Obviously, FaZe beat Optic and FaZe beat New York, but so they won the like grand finals. But out of the two in the losers finals, I was rooting for like New York. I genuinely think it'd have been a proper clash of titans had it been FaZe New York this major. Unfortunately, New York fell short against Optic, and Optic did beat them. And I'm not saying that like negatively. I think Optic is an amazing team. I just don't think they're there yet, in my personal opinion, to be like the champions. They are an amazing team. They're just not there yet. Whereas New York, they fell short heavily in Major 1, but the stuff they've been practicing and the stuff they've been doing has been so impressive. Like the way they've like kind of integrated their knowledge of the map and the game and the plays that they've been practicing while thing. It has been a very impressive sight to see. Like they were doing stuff that other teams hadn't yet even considered. Like they were shooting areas and being very intelligent about like their plays, where all other teams hadn't even considered these moves. Like they had not even come to like this kind of like this level of understanding of the maps, right? And so I genuinely thought New York was, in my opinion, a more worthy team of hitting the grand finals. But they lost, and the grand finals was FaZe versus Optic. I honestly passed out. I ended up passing out for the New York Optic match. Like I watched half of it, and then it was super late. So I ended up watching the VOD in the morning, and then watched the VOD of the grand finals while I was having my lunch. Yeah, FaZe just genuinely an amazing team. Absolutely amazing team, dude. Like, I think throughout the major, Salium was the star in my opinion. Like, I actually think Salium was the... Like, I've actually hated Salium all the way up to this point. All the way up to this year, I've hated him. Mainly because he does a lot of cheese, particularly the snaking cheese and stuff like that. He really goes hard with that in the previous years. And it just makes the viewing experience like just not great. He's cut back on that snaking nonsense. He's not doing it as much. Although there was a small instance in this major where he might have been snaking a little bit. But for the most part, he's just been playing an amazing AR role. And as my favorite like gameplay is AR over SMG. SMG is more like kind of like fancy. I think, you know, like it looks cooler, but I appreciate really good AR gameplay. And Salim has always been an amazing player. It's just been hard for me to watch him because he does all that cheese. Whereas this year he's not doing all that cheese, and he is just an absolutely brilliant player. Like without question, Salim. Like a lot of people have been talking about like Shotzi or these guys. That guy are probably gonna be like the MVP of the this year. In my book, Salim's always been in that kind of running for MVP because he's been a top tier player, right? But in my opinion, this year, he's genuinely my MVP so far. Like, he has been consistently good in most of the matches and just absolutely brilliant with his gunfights and his POV. And now that he's not, like, freaking snaking everything, right? Now that he's not doing that, like, it is an absolute joy to watch him play. Like, he is so brilliant, dude. He is so brilliant. That being said, in the grand finals, the two highlight players as far as that goes was Simp and Abizi. Those two guys are on another level also, and they just sort of went off legitimately off the leash. Like in the grand finals, they were just tearing Optic apart, and it was between them, both of them, you know, like just working off each other and just kind of like dominating the scene. Salim, I think in the grand finals kind of was doing good, but he kind of took a step back in comparison to those two. Whereas I think leading up to the like grand final, Salim had a very powerful role being played as far as the match goes. Also, usually I don't like when people start shooting bodies and stuff, like showing that disrespect and all. And I'll tell you one thing, this whole major, the FaZe team and all, they be shooting bodies hard, dude. But the joke is, it actually sort of works now this year. Like for me, it sort of works, man. I'm like, yeah, go for it, dude. These guys are just beast modes, and they are absolutely tearing it apart, right? So yeah, Salim, Draza, all of them be shooting bodies like of the other players and all. And sometimes it works for them, you know. In some of the like rounds, they like dominate, they shoot the bodies, and then unfortunately, maybe the next round they sort of like fumble. But all in all, they are destroyed in the grand finals Optic thing. I genuinely think Optic, as talented as they are, I think the New York FaZe match grand finals might have been more exciting. Like it wasn't particularly like super, like they were close games. A lot of them, and some of them did go down to the wire kind of thing and all that. But I think just as far as gunfights go and all, I think FaZe was just kind of like slamming Optic really hard. So yeah, that's the scene as far. I mean, I didn't mention this, but this year since the beginning, I have been sort of like on FaZe camp. Like I've been sort of like, especially when they made the Draza replacement, they got Draza onto the team. I have been keen on seeing them, you know, excel, because I think this particular squad, Salim, Abizi, Simp, and Draza, is an absolute brilliant lineup. So definitely glad to see them win. Hopefully more to come, although, you know, FaZe has this habit of maybe winning one major and then coming second place in all the other ones. So hopefully that's not the case. FaZe definitely brilliant team, and they're obviously the ones to congratulate for the victory in Major 2. again, I think Optic. See, Dashy's a properly good player. Kenny's a solid like leader, I think. Who's the Dashy, Kenny? Oh, Pred is like kind of a very solid slayer. So the X factor is always Shotzi, right? And I'm gonna say this, like I like Shotzi. He's like an insane POV to watch, right? Like he's brilliant. But he has a lot of these like really cool outplays that work insanely well online, right? But they don't necessarily always translate to LAN because of like how like online there are certain things like where you're doing really fast and high movements and all that that sort of like break the game because of the connection. Whereas where you're on LAN and on that smooth line, that is a little more fluid for other people to follow, right? So they can follow that stuff a little easier and it's not breaking the lines as well. This is, I think, the key factor to Optic like improving. It's not Shotzi changing that stuff, but like I said in the beginning, I think Karma is the coaching staff at the moment. He's the head of the coaching staff and all. He needs to be working with Optic. So when Shotzi's ready to like he sees these kind of opportune moments, because he's very instinctual a player, right? So when he sees these opportune moments to do these kind of like outplays, the team needs to be prepared for how to react. Like the Optic players, the other players need to be ready to how to react and kind of be more coordinated with Shotzi's instinctual plays. So I think on LAN, if they can practice that coordination with Shotzi's instinctual like plays, if they can combine that a little bit so it's a little more fluid as a team when those moments are happening, I think that is kind of what Optic is missing at the moment. Like that's why I'm saying like I think in particular New York's situation. See, I think in New York's situation, I think there's a little less of the instinctual stuff though, which was I think what was New York's downfall. They had practiced a lot of stuff as teams and like as plays, and they were executing them extremely well. And I think they needed a little bit more instinctual sometimes scenarios to push them forward, you know, and not rely too heavily on those plays. That being said, though, these are all top tier teams. So these are like minor criticisms where they clearly are very good at these things, right? They're still very good instinctual players and still very good team players and all that. But these are the things, areas where I feel like maybe they could work on a little bit to improve their games, right? And the opposite applies to like Optic, where they could be improving their teamwork a little bit so it's a little more coordinated when those instinctual moments happen that like maybe could create an outplay, you know, for the opposing team. As far as FaZe goes, I think FaZe's weakness was not knowing the maps as well as New York was learning them. I think the like experimentation that New York's doing with the maps and all is so interesting, figuring out these really interesting spots, right, that potentially could work and learning them, you know. I think FaZe, like they're such a good team though. Like I genuinely think if like New York had maybe done that like outplay that they did on FaZe to Optic would have been fumbling for the rest of the search and destroy. Whereas what happened with FaZe is like FaZe kind of fumbled for the next few rounds because they didn't know what to do, because that was such a nasty wall bang, right? That they didn't know what to do. But by the end of the search and destroy, they had just kind of repositioned themselves to a place where that wall bang was no longer viable, right? They knew they were going to try it, but they planted in that area, but made sure they were out of line of that wall bang. So they were very good with the readjustment on the fly, right? Which is so impressive, right? But I think just the map knowledge New York showed in this major kind of like put all the teams to shame, Like all the teams. Like it's like, dude, these guys have been clearly been practicing some interesting lines, you know, and clearly other teams have not even considered even trying some of this stuff. So yeah, that's generally the thoughts. Again, congratulations to FaZe. They're just an amazing team this year, and like definitely going to be a top tier team throughout all the majors. Optic looking scary for sure, but I do think there's still a little bit more work involved behind it. Sublimers, glad to see they picked themselves up after Major 1 because that was a real shocker the way they went out that major. And interesting to see how they've been sort of like experimenting with the game because, like I said, no one else is. And again, I do think the coaching staff deserves a lot of credit for that, I think, in New York, because I do think I wouldn't be surprised if like some of the players found some of these spots, but then the coaching staff kind of like put the plays together to make them more viable as a squad, right? During those scenarios. And that is so important. And then Toronto Ultra, I think they fell short this major. I think they've gotten a little complacent as far as the game goes, meaning like they've not been, I suspect, like they've been complaining about stuff that they're not enjoying and how like certain things are not working properly and how that's been putting them off the game. And I think that did show a little bit in this major that like maybe they're not super focused on the game because of some of the negative like aspects of the game, like mechanical aspects and, you know, like the bugs and this, that, or things that need to be fixed and all and aren't being fixed and stuff like that. But yeah, all in all, an amazing major. Highly recommend watching the VODs. I would definitely, I think out of all the games, I would definitely recommend the FaZe Sublimers game. That was really good. And the sad thing is that wasn't even a finals day game, but it was a really good like head-to-head. And then, honestly, the interesting thing about the finals day is like all four like of the top teams, right, were in the finals day. So like all the matches were like at a very, very high level in the finals day, like without a doubt. Like you're gonna see like and learn things if you watch these games and you're particularly interested in the rank mode. So I would definitely advise watching the like finals day because there's no team in the like top 4 that made it this major that was worth like ignoring. They're all worth watching. They're all top players. And like I said, it was a banger of a day because it's not always that you see like the best end up in the finals day. Like, I mean, you would think it would happen all the time. But in COD, there's a lot of upsets and stuff, so it doesn't always happen. This time it happened, so finals day was actually sort of one of those days that were worth staying up and watching most of the matches if you could. I tried to, man. I just got super tired by the end of it. I got super tired, so I took a nap and watched the VOD in the following day. So yeah, that's the major 2, my thoughts and stuff like that. Like I said, I would definitely keep an eye on the CDL website and Major 3 kicking off sooner or later. Be exciting to see how that goes down. I didn't talk about the lower teams, not because they were bad or anything. There has been improvements on some of the teams, and some of the lower teams have sort of devolved a little bit. But I think it was more important to focus on, you know, the top 4 that made it into the finals day that, you know, are also the top 4 for this year. But no, there are. I think again another. Like I'll say it. The biggest disappointment for me has been Miami Heretics. I was so hoping they would like be amazing. I really was, because it sort of opens up the door to like international players, more international teams coming into the CDL, because the entire Miami roster is like a Spanish squad, like Spanish players or whatever. So I was rooting for them since like the launch of like this season. but man, have they like really disappointed on LAN, like on the like actual major days. Like online, they've been good, man, and but on LAN, on like the landline connection, they just been rubbish, dude. It's been upsetting how bad they are because I was rooting for them. I wasn't expecting much this major from them because I sort of saw how bad they were last major. But even this major, I was expecting them to do better than they did. And they did bad. So I don't know. I think the idea from what I've heard, okay, this is what I've heard, okay, from like people who know the scene better, right? This lineup isn't even the top players in the Spanish league, which is the surprising thing. They were so hell-bent on creating a Spanish league team, like an all-Spanish team, and yet a lot of these players aren't even like the best of the best in the Spanish league, as far as what I've heard. I don't follow that scene enough, and I'm sure these guys are very good and probably top tier, close to the top tier players, right? If not, some of them are the top tier players. But apparently there are other Spanish players in the league, in the Spanish league, that are so much more promising and like appear to have a lot more skill that are not even being considered in this team, I guess, or whatever. I don't know what the scene is. So I think if you're not going to go all out with getting the best of the best from the Spanish league team, then having an all Spanish squad isn't exactly that important, I feel, right? So like, I think, okay, you're not getting the best of the best from the Spanish league. Why are you fixated on having only like the Spanish players on your team? Maybe get other players that are better fitted and will do a better job, right? Even if they're not like of that heritage, you know? I liked the idea of the all Spanish team. It's just been a bit of a disappointment on these majors, like the days that matter. Anyway, whatever they decide to do with that team, hopefully it gets better for them because they're good players, and like on the online matches they show so much promise, at least in some of the matches, right? So like, dude, when they get online, I mean on the LAN games, it's like, dude, what are you doing? Anyway, that's it. There are also other disaster teams in the bottom that are worth maybe criticizing, but probably not worth wasting time on. They know that they're fumbling the bag hard on some of them. Anyway, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Check out my old streams if you haven't already, and I will catch you later. Bye. Yeah, finals day, absolutely brilliant set of matches with brilliant top tier teams and an absolutely beautiful viewership reward blueprint.